All right.
Good evening and welcome to Suffering in Silence with Evangelist Tia here on Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. We're here with you every Friday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern. And Love Bay family, we want you to remember that we are rising out of the ashes together. Our topic on tonight is making the shift. We are continuing a conversation that we started, I believe it was in June, the beginning of the summer. We have with us Erin Mitchell, our co-host, and our guest for this evening back with us is Richard Noel, and he is the author of Creating Joy and Harmony. Listeners, if you have any questions or comments for our guest or our co-host, you can email us at sufferinginsilencedv@gmail.com, or you can text us at the number 437-778-3299. And also, if you have any resources that you would like to share with us on a national or local level from your country, your community, any local organizations, or your faith community, you can also email us at sufferinginsilencedv@gmail.com. And with that, Erin, I'll ask if you would greet our listeners and viewers on tonight.
Sure. Hey, everybody from Love Bay. So good to be with you all in this circle again. I always enjoy our conversations. I've been a board member of Evangelist Tia's organization, Rise Out of the Ashes, and we're always looking to provide immediate support for people in transition out of violent situations. And Tia has been, really a powerful leader in this movement to heal and transcend out of domestic violence situations for anyone involved in them. So it is a great honor to be with her working on her team. And I'm so excited to have Richard Noel on again. I think this is my third time interviewing him. Maybe he's been here more, but I met Richard. I actually met him while he was, in action doing his thing. He was doing a drumming circle and really elevating people's spirits the night that I got to see him at Miraval Resort. I went there just because I needed some healing and some, refilling my resources, so to speak, after a very long journey out west. And a friend had recommended to go see him, and it was the right move because he led a drumming circle and song and dance and singing. And he also is a spiritual teacher and has written this book that has really been a talisman for me over the last couple years, just really learning in simple ways how to change your perspective and change your attitude, which is super empowering to anybody that's struggling in any kind of circumstance, because we can't change anybody else but ourselves. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation, Richard, with you tonight. And again, my name is Erin Mitchell, and I'm so happy and honored to be with you two tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Erin.
Richard, if you would greet our listeners and viewers on this evening, and also tell us where we can get your book.
Welcome to my beautiful people and everyone who take time off their busy schedule to tune in to this amazing session here with Evangelist Tia and Erin Mitchell. You can purchase my book on Amazon, also on my website, www.jam2grow. If you go to Amazon, just put in Creating Joy and Harmony or put my name, Richard Noel, and it's going to pop up. My book is same price as a burrito, and it's selling just as good as sliced bread. Come on. So, and it's not just a book; it's a workbook. And the key thing is that this book is written based on not just my experience, but based on my childhood, how I grew up, and what I observed growing up on the islands. Why people come from all over the world to experience joy on the islands, and why it is so important to harness joy in your life every day. Because if you're not in joy, you get destroyed.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Well, thank you so much. So, Left Bay, as we start this evening, we do want to share some resources. I want to take a moment. I do want to thank everyone who has given to our nonprofit thus far, Rise Out of the Ashes, Inc. If you do want to contribute, you still can go to GoFundMe. You can look for Rise Out of the Ashes and you can donate that way, or you can write a check to made out to Rise Out of the Ashes, Inc. Our address is P.O. Box 15, Drexel Hill, PA 19026. So thank you to all those who have given, to all those who are going to give, and to those who may even just be thinking about it. I want to share Pastor Darius Daniels. He's the pastor of Change Church. He has several locations in the United States. His website is dariusdaniels.com, and his YouTube channel is Darius Daniels TV. I think that may be helpful for some of our Love Bay family. We have the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Their website is thehotline.org. They're in the United States. The number is 1-800-799-7233. We have the National Helpline for Substance Abuse Mental Health Services. Their number is 800-662-4357. That is also in the United States. Then we have the Asia Foundation. Their website is asiafoundation.org. And then we have the Canadian Women's Foundation, which is in Canada. Their website is canadianwomen.org. Their number is 1-866-293-4483. And the last resource that we have is Befrienders Volunteer Action to prevent suicide. To find a helpline by your country, you can visit their website, which is befrienders.org. And I apologize in advance. I do hear some kind of feedback. I don't know if that's me or not. I will try to get that noise out of here if that is me. But as we move into our topic on tonight, our topic is making a shift. And so again, we are continuing a conversation that we started at the beginning of the summer. And we previously established that it's never too late to start over. It is never too late to start your joy and your harmony. That can start today, or it can restart. It doesn't have to go by calendar year. New beginnings are available to you, to all of us, every day, at any time. You just have to make the choice to do it and move forward in it. Now, having said that, and knowing that and understand it, what we wanted to do on this evening was pull out another piece of that conversation, which is, and Richard, I'll ask this question of you first.
Mm-hmm.
And Erin, I'll ask you the same question, and that is, how do you make a shift in the midst of disappointment? Because we know everything is not roses, everything is not just flowers and candy. And again, we are speaking to the issue, dealing with domestic violence. We're dealing with sexual assault. We're dealing with all kinds of trauma. And so I know there are several points in my life where I had to make the decision to make a change, but that was in the midst of what I was going through. That was in the midst of the disappointment of first being honest and realizing this is the situation that I'm in. And then as I was getting help and moving forward, there was still disappointment in that. Even getting out of it, starting my life over, there was still a disappointment because what I thought my life was going to be and what I had experienced was nothing like what I wanted. So I did have to make the decision to move forward. I had to make the decision to be honest and make some changes. But it was hard. It was hurtful. And I know the things that I had to do for me. But Richard, I want to ask you, for those right now dealing with any kind of situation, because we're not being glib. We're not just throwing things out. We're not just saying, oh, just go be happy and you'll be all right.
No.
This is real. This is real life. We understand it. And some of us are dealing with some serious issues. So again, the first question of the evening is, how do you make a shift in the midst of disappointment?
Well, first and foremost, you have to establish what do you want through the shift. If you're making a shift, there must be a target point. So if I'm going through a distress situation, what I have to figure out, what will I like it to be? Is it safety? Is it joy? Is it love? So you must establish at a shift what is the end results, what is the end point? How do you see yourself at the end of what you're going through? As you know, we always have to, and I'm not just saying this, but there's always an opposite reality to what the situation we are in. And just from what the scripture say, let the weak say I am strong, let the poor say I'm weak. So the situation you are in, you got to focus on what is the opposite reality to the situation I'm in. Am I depressed? What is the opposite of depression? Depression, as we know, lack of expression. To get out of depression, how could I get out of that? What is the opposite of depression? What is the opposite of sadness? What is the opposite of sickness or whatsoever the traumatic history you're going in? So first we got to focus on the end, and the end is where you want to be. Then, in spite of just saying trust in the process take repetition. And what is repetition? Repetition is meeting with someone, a counselor, maybe once a week, doing your prayer, and really doing things repetitiously until you get there, until that shift is made mentally. Remember, every shift is made mentally first. Go within or go without. So your inner world is a reflection of your outer world. So how could I take time and visualize myself? What will it look like? What will it feel like if I am on this, if I acquire this feeling or this end result? What will it be? I mean, it's the same principle that is applied to an athlete. When an athlete is looking to achieve a goal or medal or whatsoever they are trying to achieve, the training is repetitiously. So the repetitious training for somebody is meeting with somebody, getting a support group, a support system, and repetitiously, continually going to these meetings or these sessions, getting that support until everything takes time, but it works repetitiously, and it's all inner work first. Your inner world, as I say, is the reflection of your outer world. As above, so below, as within, so without. So that's my suggestion to making any shift. It starts within. If you choose to pray, your meditation, and whatsoever you choose to do, but it's got to be repetitiously. It takes time. One of the things that I always recommend to people is using prayer beads, which is 108, saying some of the same things over and over by invoking the consciousness of I am, or whatsoever deity, that is your option. But just saying it over and over, it helps make that shift. I actually see it, and I always recommend that. That's why in my book, I always mention using the 108 beads, because our mind works through repetition. So that's how the shift is made. But you have to see the end first. If you don't see the end, you will not get the victory that you desire.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for that. Have to say that, you mentioned just about everything I had in my notes. so I believe you know what you're talking about. So, Erin, so I ask you the same question, from your viewpoint, how would you, or how did you, or how would you suggest to another person how to make the shift in the midst of disappointment? You're on mute.
Thanks. Sorry, my dog was barking. Yeah, great question. A couple of things come to mind. Number one is this aspect of I a lot of times in my life would always be seeking out the tools to get me out of what it was I was feeling. And too often, well, and maybe that was perfect in the moment, but I think right now where I'm at with this is not jumping to the tool before I face or acknowledge what it is I'm feeling, assuming that is an unwanted feeling, right? Like that's the shift from that unwanted feeling into what Richard was saying, which is the the outcome you would like to have. And so right now it's been about allowing whatever those feelings are to come up and not sit in them and not be obsessing over them mentally necessarily, but literally just allowing my body to, tell me, where is this tight? Where is this pain? Where is this hurting? And then really giving myself space to be honest about whatever those feelings are that are coming up with me. I was dog sitting and I had this dog that is, by anybody's measure, a sweet dog. But for whatever reason, this dog was agitating me and I was getting had all this anger coming up, and I was like, what is going on? This is a dog. This dog is, not, it's not personal. It's not, I didn't get it. And it was a really, I think maybe some people might be able to relate to this, because I think sometimes we have feelings come up that don't really match what's happening in the situation. And I think before, I just would have been like, here, stay outside and, go in this room and just be away from me. But instead, because of this, again, this practice of facing what it is that I'm feeling in my body, I felt my heart race. I felt like kind of this tension in my stomach. And I've been able to say, wonder what that was about. I ended up just allowing that anger to arise at a later point, just kind of going back there and tapping in and recognize that this dog had brought up my issues with boundaries, because he was really kind of taken over the place. And in my past, I hadn't spoken up about that. And so it was kind of, it was tapping into that part in my body, and I had to face that. And if I didn't face it and I just went into my, let me get out of this feeling, right? Like, let me go to yoga, let me sing a song, let me dance, let me do the practices that Richard's going to, talk about, like, tonight on the show. If I went right there, I may not have even recognized what it was that was sitting inside my body still. So that's something that I've been working with in order to make the shift from these unwanted feelings that I don't want to carry around with me anymore.
Yeah. So I think what both of you have said is just absolutely amazing. First of all, Richard, the point that, you made, we are not talking about denying reality, but we are saying you do need to see yourself in a better place. You do need to see yourself. You need to visualize where you want to be, even though you're in the midst of the abusive relationship, even though you're in the midst of dealing with a hard time with your children or a hard time at work. Call those things that be not as though they were. Again, we're not talking about denying what's in front of you, but being honest about it, seeing where you want to be, and then taking the steps to get there. And small steps, not just jump right into it and everything will be fine. That is totally unrealistic. And then also, Erin, as you were saying, just face the issue. You have to face it. And so with that and what you were saying, I want to add to that. Don't deny progress that you've already made. Because for me, on this week alone, I had to deal with some disappointment that was completely unexpected for me. My youngest child is just going back to school. The school year has just started. She's in elementary school, and I was just going through the process. You know, the first day, you get into the new classroom and the new friends and the old friends, and I was really just enjoying it. And it just dawned on me, I could not remember those experiences with my other children. My other children are older, and so they were younger when I was going through the whole domestic violence issue. My youngest child, she was about a little over a year when I left. So she did not have that life. She wasn't there. It was completely different. And I sat and I tried to remember. I can't remember first days of school with my other children. I can't remember some birthdays. I can't remember some like holidays, like Christmases. And because I know in those moments, for me, it was like purely survival. I was, figuring out like what was going on, just trying to live, trying to get out of it, trying to do what I needed to do. But there are gaps of years of memories. And I mean, they could be small memories to some and they could be bigger to other, but I can't remember. I know why I can't remember, and I don't like it. And so I had to sit with that for a few days. It's still bothering me now, but I understand where it comes from. I understand why it's happened. But for me, I really had to talk to myself and I had to tell myself, there's a reason for that. There's a reason why it happened. And I don't have to let it keep playing over, in my mind. So I had to face that. I had to face it. I'm dealing with it right now. It does not feel good. So for me, I'm making a shift and moving forward, but I'm not starting all over. It's like I've like this is part of my healing process. Like I've been here, done this. I've been walking this for a few years. So I had to say to myself, well, you can't throw away everything that you've already been through. You can't throw away the progress, that you've made. So that's where I am right now. I mean, literally right now, dealing with this. So facing it, yes, but also don't deny the progress that you've made. And I want to say this, and then Richard, I'll just turn this over to you. I want to say it's okay, because I was feeling really, really bad because my older children, they're uh, 31, 26, 25, and 23. And there are just some things that I can't remember from elementary school with them in middle school. And it was just, I mean, I was really beating myself up. But I had to tell myself, it's okay. So I want to say that tonight, to our Love Bay family. It's okay wherever you are in a process. It's okay. It's okay to feel how you feel. I just say, just don't stay there. Move forward, move through it. If you feel sad, cool, work through it. If you're angry, cool, work through it. If you cry, great, work through it. If you're feeling happy, all right. Then don't just stay stuck there and just denying the world like I'm just smiling and laughing all the time. No, you have to live life and be real. But that was my 2 cents on it, because I'm really living this out right now. So Richard, I'm gonna give this to you now.
All right. So when you face it, you replace it. Okay, you replace that feeling. Some people say you gotta face it. So I just gotta laugh. But all right. So in the midst of it all, I having sessions with so many people on a daily basis, not just in the resort, but throughout. As I mentioned to you all earlier on before we clicked on, I gotta live the life that I wrote. And recently, one of the things that I mentioned in the book in particular is that something that we take for granted, and it's really powerful. And going through any process, facing any process, one of the key things is the consciousness of what mood are you in, because your mood determines your attitude and your altitude. Now, your mood, we know how powerful and how energetic our mood is. If somebody with a negative come into that room, we see what happened to how it makes people feel. You say bring everything to down. So we have to know, why are we going through any process or anything? What is our mood, or what could enhance our mood? So the key thing is, we as humans, going to sessions and all that is great. That's for a certain time, maybe for an hour, 2 hours. But the work, the buck stops with you. If it's going to be, it's up to me. So what should I do? We have 24 hours in a day, evening, and night. What should I do if I go for a session, or I have support? I'm getting support for an hour, maybe 2 hours. You are the one who have to consistently invoke those chemicals within the body, which we call dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. And these things I invoke based on activities. All right. So, like we know, dopamine is the rewarding drugs. So, a lot of times, as we are going through the process, how could we reward ourselves? What are we doing to reward ourselves? And there's so much things we can do to reward. It helps as a coping mechanism. The love hormone, we know when we have animals, we socialize, it helps invoke that chemicals and that stabilize. Serotonin is the mood stabilizer. It stabilizes your mood. So that's why they sell serotonin in the pharmacy. So how could we, because your mood is stabilized during the process, eventually things that it's gonna assist you in going through whatsoever you have to navigate. And the painkiller, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. One of the things that we take for granted, there's a real important method that we could use to kill pain. And we're going deep. Is that okay? I can't hear you. We're going deep.
Yes, it is.
All right. So one of the key thing that not I figure out, it has been figured out long time for many people, and not just for women, for men too, that really helps going through any pain, is groaning. Groaning is something we groan three times. We groan when we are going through pain, physical pain, you groan. It's used as a non-verbal language in an intimate time, and when people are taking psychedelics. But the thing is, when you groan, what it does, the level of release that it's sent through the body, it's amazing. It's one of the ways to really combat challenging time. So if you could find time to release and let out whatsoever is within your inner world that is seeking to get out or seeking to be erased, groaning is one of the things that I recommend for a lot of men and women and men who are going through challenges. So you could groan by doing different, everybody have their way of doing different chanting, doing different things. And just by placing your hand in certain areas of your body, and it brings a major relief. It's one of the greatest pain killer. So I'm saying, as from what I say in the beginning, if we really look at it, we are the one who are responsible for our shift. We are the one who are responsible through repetition, through consistency, persistency, and tenacity. Right? Sometimes you don't feel like doing what you want to do, but when you do it, the results come. So it's all about how could you enhance your mood during difficult times, because it's easy to enhance your mood when things are going good.
Yeah.
Because your mood is your Wi-Fi. You have a great mood, you have 5G. Your mood is not good, you have no G, you can't connect. When you have 5G, you could connect. So how could you consistently connect? How could you uplift your mood and enhance your mood so you could continue to navigate your way through the journey? That's real important.
Yeah. Erin, you have a question or a comment?
So I love, the groaning thing. That's new. I haven't heard that one, Richard, but that makes so much sense, especially if you're wounded in battle. That's when I think of that the most, when somebody's, has a really intense wound,
All right.
but a physical wound.
well, I want to break it down more for you. All right. So if someone
Okay.
have a physical wound, you're
Mhm.
grown because that's the pain, right? But it's on the flip side, when people are having an intimate time, a non-verbal language, when people are having an intimate time, is groaning. Think about it. All right. I mean, you're connected. So it's non-verbal, no language. All right. And when people take in different things, they groan, but it's one of the ways to get one of the most effective ways. It have a lot of benefits to get negative energy out of your temple or your body.
Mhm.
Now it's really harsh. You could find your place and you could do your groaning. And I'm not talking about you're groaning, but you're groaning. Think about if you physical battle in if somebody get pain hit, when they groaning, what are they thinking of? They holding that spot of their where they get hit and or where they get injured, sorry, and that's the area they're holding. So if you're feeling in your belly, in your chest, put your hands on that area in your head
Well,
and
I
just
was just thinking that like I'm thinking of mental and emotional pain. Um and because there is a groaning, I believe, like deep within that comes, like there is a certain pain that
that's
can hit
it.
your mind
That's it.
that it's like you don't have to fake it, you don't have to, like it just comes. And I'm
That's your
having it
healing.
for
That's
many,
your healing
many,
right there.
yeah.
And
When
if
I
you could,
just remember putting my hand over my heart because the
right,
pain was just so much. It was like I could just feel it in my
right,
chest.
right. So you hear
Yeah,
what you said here?
yeah,
You said it's something that you don't have to practice. It comes.
yeah.
Let it out. Let it out. Right. So I'll give you give you an example. This week I had a session with two women, and well, they two women side by side, and they had some trauma and traumatic pain. And with the groaning whatsoever, they vomited it. And with that groaning, with the drums, vibrational tones of the drums, and this is not a normal drum, it's a table drum where people sit under, and it actually left. So why it is because as I mentioned to one of the best things for us to do, I mean we could talk, we could read books, we have to put the work in and we need to know what to do to put the work in. So we know about things like EFT tapping um, to tap different areas, but the groaning. So we know about also before I get, we know about certain things like Om, Huyu, and all that's great. But you have there's something in you that needs to come out. That groaning have a significant benefit for emotional pain as well, just as physical pain.
Yeah. Erin?
Yeah, I was thinking of the Wailing Wall,
Uh-huh.
in Israel, and just a lot of people that used to be way more vocal when it came to joy or grief, like that that vocalization. And so I think that's a really great tool. Did you have any others that you wanted to share around some of those different endorphins and like quick ones, like groaning is super accessible. It's something
Well,
that you
well, listening. Well, we know. Going for a walk in nature, listening to music, um, um, emotional distress. Remember, we live in a time where there's a lot of things to watch, there's a lot of things to touch, but we got to learn how to flush. So that emotional distress. Now, if you're in traffic and you can't go in nature, or you in a position where you can't go in nature, listen to some sort of music that could really enhance that mood and allow to soothe the pain, because the pain is what takes so much of us out. That inner pain that takes us out. So we got to know how could we apply. So we know about the morning, we know about the music, we know about the nature walks, things of that nature really helps. But I just say some of these things. But sometimes if you're ready, um, cross-examine your life and cross-examine yourself. There's things that you have done in the past to where you are right now, but you really did not notify it, and it works, and that works for you. And you sometimes when we are in challenging position, we have to go back to what really hold us. Look at what stage are we at in life, and the things we had to navigate through, disappointment, abuse, and we're still here. There is things that we do, and we have to do it. So the key thing is, as individuals and everybody who's looking at this program, you are responsible for putting the work in. So this program is a guide, but you have to put the work in and know that the coping skills that helps to relieve pain. Because we know, if you, I'm not a doctor, but I have a lot of documents on this. I can't tell nobody not to take medication for pain, right? But I'm talking about natural things within the body, the endorphins that we could really amp up to assist in this process.
Yeah, but so, there are techniques to use. And I really want to go back to a point that you made earlier, Erin. As you said, you were in a situation, you had to face it, you had to deal with what was going on right now. You did not immediately go back to your processes, whatever they were. You faced it first to figure out what was going on. I think that is a huge thing. And it's what I needed to do for myself, because my coping mechanisms were not going to help me through this, because it had nothing to do with what I was facing right now. Like I have never dealt with dealing with the loss of memories. These tender memories of mine, I've never dealt with that before. So the things that I use to cope from other areas of trauma or traumatic things that would come up, they weren't going to help me, and they're not going to help me now. So I had to do some different things. I have to do some new things, and I'm feeling my way through. I'm figuring out what that is. For me, I needed to be in quiet. Quiet really helped me. I needed to sit by myself and just work this out. It helped to be outside, to see the trees, to see the sun, even the clouds, when it started to get cooler for a few days. That's something new for me. And it helped me through this new thing that I'm dealing with. So I think that is very, very important. You can't immediately run to whatever system you already have set up. You got to figure out what it is that you're going through. You got to face it and deal with it.
Can I say something? All right. So in every one of us, there's what you call, are you all familiar with Akashic record? You ever heard of the term?
No.
All right. So your Akashic record stores everything in the entire life. All right. So it's like, I'll give you an example. That's like the hard drive in your computer. So the hard drive in your computer, your phone, or any one of your device stores every activity, every site you went on, everything. All right. What does that mean? In your case, what I recommend, and you could look up Akashic record at the end of the session. If you just go on, look up the meaning, you're going to see, and it's going to tell you everything that is stored. And you don't have to beg. You could command certain things to be revealed from your childhood, and it will show up. With closing your outer eyes and open, as you say, silence, darkness, that inner eye, it works. So I wanted to write this Akashic records, and you're going to see what it is. That's everything from trauma to good times in our life. All that has been stored. So why it is a lot of times when certain things are reoccurring or reminiscing in people's life, as someone who works or support individuals, the first thing you go to is to erase it from your Akashic record. So we have methods like EMDR, where you turn your eyes and you do certain things. Like, you're all familiar with EMDR. That's the next technique that you use. But Evangelist Thea, you have to take that time and ask for that memory that has been lost to reveal itself. So you call it emerge. When you do that, you are merging yourself back to your soul, which it has been disconnected from, and it healing your heart at the same time.
And that makes perfect sense. But I think as I'm still walking this out, I think I have to like take my time with it, because I think
Yes.
there are some things that I don't want to come back. And it's like I know the overall reason
Right.
why, I can't remember. So it's like I have to slow walk.
That
This,
is
but
really
but
important, what you said here. That is
yeah,
really important,
yeah,
because you don't want certain things to resurface.
yeah, and
So you
yeah.
got to be specific on what you want to reveal. That is really important.
Yes. So I know enough to know that
Yes.
I do have to take my time. It's important.
Mhm.
But I think for me, just being able to recognize, what was going on, I felt good about that. I really did. And we need to end early today, so we have 4 more minutes. So with that, Richard, I just want to ask if you would just take a couple minutes and give us a final word. Erin, thank you so much for everything that you've already added on tonight. I've enjoyed this conversation. Again, I think how to deal with disappointment in the midst of trying to move forward. I think this is something that we should revisit. But Richard, I would ask you for a final word that you would give to our listeners and viewers on tonight.
So one of the things dealing with disappointment is sometimes it depends on your level of disappointment. It could put you in shame, and it could put you in regret. And as we say, you those state of being kind of be a resting place. It's going to really allow you to continue to spiral down. So if from some disappointment, do your best to make that transition and make that shift to elevate your emotional state to an emotional state that is uplifting, so you could come out of that area of shame, because shame and regret is at the bottom of the barrel.
Yes.
So invoke the feel good chemicals in your body that will enhance your mood. As I said, I call it my daily dose: dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. Your daily dose, DOSC. And you could go online and check all what can enhance it. Everybody know that is different for different people, and put the work in. You have to put the work in consistent. There's no day off. If you take a day off, sometimes there's no day off. You give things time to continue to reestablish itself. So continue on your journey. See the end. Go to the end. What are you looking for? Heal my heart, merge me back to my soul, and show me who I am becoming. Out of all this, show me who I am becoming. And it works, but it got to be consistent.
Awesome. Richard, thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. Erin, thank you again for being with us.
Thank you.
I hope that this was helpful to you. I hope that it was meaningful to you. But again, we are not glib, and we are not just throwing things out there just to do it. We understand that life is a process, especially when you are dealing with the trauma of domestic violence and sexual assault. So we want to continue to be encouraging. If you want to catch up on previous episodes from our program, you can visit our YouTube channel, Suffering in Silence TV. We thank you so much for joining Suffering in Silence with Evangelist Tia here on Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. We're here with you every Friday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern. And Love Bay, we want you to remember that we are rising out of the ashes together. Good evening.